registration exercise. Is the National Democratic Congress prepared?
We are very much prepared. In fact, our teams are already in the field. The agents are pushed. They were even there before they opened their BVRs. So our teams are ready. Our monitoring teams from the regions, constituencies, all are ready. Higher on the price. In fact, we are very much ready for the exercise.
Well, you had raised earlier concerns. Does that mean that you now have made peace with the approach? Because earlier on, I recall, even with your predecessors, there were many concerns raised about the fact that this were going to be done in the district offices, the electoral areas, because they said there are some difficult to reach areas. We are not hearing that the AC will be in those areas, electoral areas, for 2 days, only 2 days. Have you made your peace with that? And would that work?
Well, we've discussed this at a past meeting. Looking at the registration, it's a limited registration. It's not a mass registration. The figures they are targeting, if you do the mathematics, they might not need to extend it to more electoral areas because they are targeting about 600,000. But we know that the figure is more than that. We are targeting almost 1 million voters. We know this issue. Their figures are always not correct. You know what they are doing over there. I don't know what kind of statisticians they have over there. Anytime they project something, they would rather go higher than that. So we are not taking them by their word. But nonetheless, they are doing almost 800 registration points. Of course, the district offices are going to run for 21 days. Only the hard to reach areas, they will do 2 days. And then there will be a movement plan for that. So for now, we will take them as it is, and then we'll manage the process.
Is it still good enough? Because you in the NDC, does the target preclude them from actually holding this registration close to the people?
That is what the CIC. The CIC is that it should be accessible to the registrant. But these crooked PCs, with their behavior, they will always want to test our pulse and see what we're doing. Because we push them to bring in the hard-to-reach areas. Initially, they wanted to restrict it to the district office as they did in 2023. But this time around, because of our advocacy, and then they realized that, yes, they had challenges during the 2023 registration. And that's why they brought in the hard-to-reach areas just to augment the district office registration. And so, for now, since they have been gazetted, we will have to do with it. And our teams are there. I mean, our teams, our monitoring teams, our mobilization teams, they are all up to the task. And as we speak now, things are going on well in the camp. We only have some difficulties with them over the recruitment process towards this registration.
The difficulties, because you have raised those issues earlier on. Are you saying that what the EC said yesterday was not good enough? They suggested that, one, they will make the names and the faces available to you and the photographs available to you. If you have an issue with them, let them know. They investigate. When they found that the issues you raised are correct, they would withdraw that particular temporary staff that they have recruited. Not good enough for you?
Completely out of order. You see, this EC has a penchant of violating the various CIs that are enabling them to carry out their activities. This current registration exercise is governed by CI 91 as amended by CI 126. Now, the CI 91 is very clear. Look at Regulation 8. Regulation 8.1 says that the Commission shall make available to the interested parties or political parties at the district office the names and pictures of persons it proposes to appoint. Listen, proposes to appoint as registration supervisors, registration officers, registration assistants, and any other officials for the center, not later than 14 days before they are appointed. What was she talking about? This is very clear. It's in the regulation.
Okay.
And then you go and appoint people without even making it available to us. We don't even know the people you have appointed. And they started work today. And you want me to raise issues against them now. This is what they are talking. If you go further, the two, regulation H2, a registered political party or any interested person may in writing object to any person proposed for appointment as a registration supervisor, a registration officer, assistant or any officer within 7 days after the names of the proposed officers have been made available. That is what the CI is talking about. They were to make these things available to us 14 days. They are not even going to appoint them. What they do is that those proposed, if you have shortlisted them and you have intention of appointing them, you have to forward the names to us, their pictures. We will peruse them. If you have issues within 7 days, we'll write back to you and tell you that these people, they are fully blooded MPP guys or DPP. They cannot be there. Then you take action and report back to them before you can now appoint them. So how did they do? And Ghanaians are quiet. Everybody is quiet about this. She will just sit down and then and convince the whole country to believe that they are being transparent and doing everything transparent. Meanwhile, she's there violating the very CI. And I think Parliament should take up this seriously, because the kind of things they are doing over there, it's unfair. They are in the process of disturbing our democracy. And we must stand up to them. And my worry is that in all these shenanigans, Peace Council is damn silent. You hardly hear them talk about it. You remember the issue about the DVRs and DVDs. No statement from the Peace Council. Now look at what they are doing again today. The whole registration exercise, glaringly violating the very CI that enables them to do registration. And people are quiet. And she has the audacity to tell us that they have a database. If you want, we'll give it to you, with their pictures and other things. Is that what the CI did? That is our problem with them.
But this is violation. He said they are violating their own law. Why should Parliament deal with it? Can't you settle this in court? Because you can take them to court for not going by their own law.
Yes, we have our options available to us. We are considering all options. But I'm just telling you that Parliament passed this CI for them. And now if they started, they did the same thing in 2020, violated this very CI 127, removed a whole clause from a pink sheet and used that one to rig the election. And that's why she dodged the docket during the first examination at the Supreme Court. Because they knew that what they did was illegal. And now they started another path again. But you see, these are our eagle eyes on them. Our eagle eyes on them. Did you know that they have even gone ahead to appoint returning officers, deputy returning officers for 2024 elections, and said they want to use them as registration supervisors for today? It was part of the announcement. They'll have to contain us with this. I'm telling you, we're not going to accept this now. That is the kind of thing they are doing over there. And people are quiet and think that this current NDC is like the previous one, where we will just take everything by anything coming up from the east, we will just accept. We're not going to accept it this time around. We won't accept. We are not going to accept this, and we have saved notice to them that if we see any blue-blooded person in there, in fact, they have to contain us with it. Because they did that and got away with it. By appointing an NPP serial caller, IT director as a commissioner. And nobody said anything. When we go to the Council of State to challenge that kind of appointment, they went back to us and said the guy was qualified. He has all the qualifications. Is that what the Constitution says? The guy was qualified. Okay, if we come to power and we decide that if there's a vacancy in the Electoral Commission, and we decide that, okay, my boss or Maneboama He's very much qualified. He has all the qualifications. He should go and be the electoral commissioner. What would Ghanaians do? What are they talking about? So these are the people we are talking about. Abiyahini is sitting there as a commissioner. Everybody knows the man. Go and see his videos. It's all over the place. Or go to social media. Go to Twitter and see what he was doing for MP. What he's been doing all along, only to be made a commissioner, electoral commission. And the same this time, we are talking of very critical personalities like the returning officers and deputy returning officers, registration supervisors. And you hit this one from the the political parties. We are not aware, only to be told yesterday that you have appointed them. And if we want, we can go and challenge them. Is that how the process is to challenge them? But this year is here. Regulation 8.1 says give the name to us 14 days. Give it to us 14 days. So that we will peruse it. If we have challenges, we will write back to you within 7 days of receipt of your list. Now, you have announced it yesterday. Today, the people have started work. The people she wants us to challenge, they've started work. They are working. By the time we go and look at it, we have not even received it. They have not given us any document. As we speak now, we don't even have the data. The only thing we know is that we've asked our officers to check who are sitting there and who is the registration supervisor in your district.
But Doc, are they also not doing this because you are slow to act? Because you knew the exact date when this registration was going to happen. You knew there were people who were going to be appointed to handle this registration. You could have a week ago sought an injunction to prevent them from going ahead until they've given you this list. You haven't done anything about it. Today is the day of the registration. So are they not doing this because you are free? You are slow to act. You haven't really done anything, have you?
We met them we asked them about this. They told us that they were in the process of shortlisting them. You know, there's a difference between shortlisting names and appointing. You shortlist the names and then prepare them for interviews. Good. That's the procedure. Every administrator will tell you how to appointment is done. Now, we're made to understand that when this one is done, they will make them available and then we'll look at it. We've been following them about this. We've been following them. I'm happy you are talking about this injunction thing. You remember 2023? What happened? When we applied for injunction at Supreme Court, your case is as good as mine. I'm sure you know the case. When we finished all the exercise for about a month or so, the Supreme Court now came back to call us that we should come and look at it for them to hear the injunction. Can you imagine? When the very issues that we're trying to injunct, the matter was moved, and now you are now calling us to come and then you hear the injunction. This is the kind of justice system we have in Ghana. And we are saying that this one, they've tested it, we have seen it. We are not surprised they've passed the course. No, we are not going to court with any issues with them these days. We are going to slug it out with them. That's the only way, the language they understand.
Slug it out?
Oh, yes, of course.
How?
No, it's simple and short. We'll let them know that this person is not qualified to be there. We are not going to accept it. Don't tell me to go to any court. Everybody, we'll give them hard court evidence and we'll make the evidence public. And Ghanaians will judge it. We are not going to wait for any judge to tell us that the person is qualified or not. We will let Ghanaians, we'll bring Ghanaians along. We are not going to be violent on this matter. There's a procedure of agitating against somebody. And we will use it. The tools are there. We are not known to be a violent group. We are not. Everybody wants peace, and we are also committed to peace. But we won't slip on our right and allow anybody to trample on us. This time we won't accept it.
I see. But does that mean that you still ask for the data that they are talking about?
Yes, we will ask for it. We will ask for it.
So aside that, is the NDC perhaps satisfied with everything aside that appointment, which is even a crucial part of it? Are you satisfied with everything else?
That's why we are saying that for now we don't even have the data. So we cannot say we are satisfied or we are not satisfied. We are only making do with the process as it starts now, because we have with our people in the districts. They went for the DIPAC meeting. They've taken notice of all the BVR brought to their districts. We've asked them what to do. We've given them our strategy, and they are following through it. The registration has started. As we speak now, everything appears to be going smooth. Yes, we are monitoring, and we will come out. And let me add, we are going to be declaring results every day, from which BVR has registered what name and what totals we have for each district in the whole country. We are going to be doing it. If we see even one additional name, hell will break loose.
So every day after each registration exercise, you intend to put out
yes,
the numbers of people that have been registered.
Yes, that's what we are going to do.
See. Okay. Doc, thank you very much for speaking to us this morning.
The pleasure is mine.
Dr. RASHID TANKO is Deputy Director, Elections and IT of the National Democratic Congress. Okay, of course, they're raising issues with this. And the suggestion is that the EC is going against this old law. In fact, when the way the chairperson of the EC said it, it was like as if they were doing something that nobody has ever done, ever. If the law suggests that you should do this 14 days ahead, so that the political parties will have 7 days after looking through the list to raise any issues they have to raise, you deal with it before you come to the registration. You fail to do that. You are now saying that you will now give it to them. After you have appointed the people will start work today. They will now be going through the process of whatever it is, raising issues. So the EC itself has questions to answer on this, the decision it has made. But we are live this morning on the lawyer. Occasionally we get the opportunity to be on one of the most fantastic radio stations, Lukusi Radio, 96.1.
Oh, fine. Cannot pay a demo.
We are on.
Oh, fine.
We are on this morning.
Beautiful.
So feel free to speak.
Beautiful.
Feel free to speak of it.
Yes. Meda kuku F1. And no happen.
That's all.
Hey.
Well, let's go and speak to Citizen Atodas, who is General Secretary of the GCPP. Thank you very much for your time. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Zana, and good morning to your church listeners.
Is the GCPP ready for the limited voter registration exercise? Starts today.
Oh, yes. After the last IPAC meeting, and also knowing the calendar of the Electoral Commission, we informed our various officers on the ground to be able to monitor the process. We have been at the forefront in terms of advocating for more registration centers closer to the people, because we are of the view that, especially in these times where it is very difficult to even fend for yourself, how much more spend so much money on traveling to go and register to become a voter. And also, the rains have started. I mean, we saw how the downpour was yesterday. I mean, this is the same across the country. And if you look at some of the travel times that people go through, it's an issue. So remember, last year, towards the DLE elections, when we had the registration, and they limited the registration to the registration edition office of the GCPP was at the forefront in terms of advocating that should not be the case. Thankfully, they've added about some 775 hard-to-reach areas and 25 public universities. We are yet to see how that goes, because they told us that because of the mobile vans we'll be using, if they realize that there are a lot of people at one particular area that they've not been able to reach, they might be able to be flexible around. So we'll see how that process works. Today is the first day. We are going to monitor and pay our reports. We'll advise ourselves as the next steps to take.
But the word might, these are possibilities, so that they might or might not. Was that strong an assurance enough for you?
Sana, sometimes I say that if we really um, want to hold the EC to some of the things that happens on the ground, I'm sure this country would have turned into something else. For instance, last year, they limited the registration to only 207 district of electoral commission. We went back and forth. This was after they themselves assured us that the agreement, which was unanimous at IPAC, that we would extend the registration exercise beyond their district, and they told us what it was. They did it. We had press conferences, we wrote letters to them, we went to court. We all saw what happened in this country. Where an institution that is headed by a lawyer decided to make a door, a gate, to be served. I mean, we've seen all these abuse, but you see, as a country, because most of us feel that at the end of the day, we should think about Ghana. So sometimes we compromise on some of these. For instance, say we went, what can we do? When it was 206 office that we fought, everybody left political party do this. The people that, because you know the situation that we are in. Our president said he will be the president for all. Unfortunately, I become the president for them. Because now he said, if you are not MPC, you can't come to them. What did he say about this? Nothing. We all watched on for this registration center to be limited at the district office of the electoral commission. We saw the challenges that happened. It was political parties that were paying for canopies, paying for chairs, feeding people, bashing people to registration centers. At the end of the day, who came to claim success? The electoral commission said they had a very successful registration exercise. Amidst all the challenges that we complained that when they do that district offices, we will have low turnout. They even exceeded their target. Meanwhile, they did not talk about what political parties had to go through to ensure that Ghanaians will be able to register. Because they know that we are the stakeholders. We want the vote. So we would want to do everything to ensure that the people are able to register. So these are some of the difficulties that sometimes we find ourselves in. But like I said, we want to start today, monitor the process, and based on that, because they said it's 21 days, based on that, we can advise ourselves as to what next steps to take. But I think all of us as stakeholders, beyond political parties, should be concerned. We want to protect a democracy that we are building. And if we want to continue on this tangent, I always say the electoral commission says that what they hold so high in esteem is fairness, transparency, and integrity. These three key things are always called to question when it comes to some of the dealings that they have. Nobody wants to bastardize the institution. I am not interested. I have been at the forefront for fighting for the electoral commission in terms of the people leaving them, because I always feel that when anybody is in opposition, he turns against them. When we come to government, they support them. I've done press conferences on those things. But I also want to tell them that it is about integrity. It is about transparency. It's about fairness. And it's about law. Law that you people yourself send to Parliament. Because everything in CI 91 is totally being abused. Sometimes I can't understand. I mean, we were here when we saw a whole electoral commission decide on their own because they think that law unto themselves to take an indelible ink aspect, which was in law, out. Yesterday, I was listening to the chairperson. She was announcing that, I don't know whether she was saying she has given or she will give the officers that they have appointed for the registration exercise, they have photos and to political parties. I want to put on record, no, well, I'm not aware, but as far as GCPP is concerned, we have not received any name, any photo, or any information.
The same with the NDC too.
Offices, except the numbers that we know.
Same with the NDC too. I just spoke to their deputy director of elections.
You see, so who have they shared this with? And per law, per the CI 91, is she telling us that that is what the CI says that we should do regarding appointments of officers? You see, so there are lots of things that if they want us to talk about, we can talk about. It's just that as political parties, we don't want to say, oh, we have to do every time you have an issue, every time you have an issue, every time you have an issue. When we go to IPAC, where we expect that let's vote consensus, they listen to us and say we'll get back to you. And they never get back to us. So you want to destroy every form of a body where you can seek redress. If you go to court, they will give you hearing dates after the registration exercise. The Electoral Commission will refuse to be served the risk. If you are avoiding every form for us to seek redress, they say where persuasion fails, force must be applied. We don't want to get there. So please, they should let us enjoy the peace and tranquility we are enjoying as a country. And they should be transparent enough with all of us. They should not circumvent their own laws that they've taken to. If they think there are issues with the laws that they are doing, they should go and change it. They should go ask for amendment. If they are amending their laws, so they should amend it. But once it is what it is, we should ensure that they follow due. Because you have the top people at the ECA office. You have a lawyer, you have a political science lecturer. Look at Mr. Tete is experienced, Swebo is experienced. All these are experienced people. So they shouldn't take some of these things as if we are bastardizing it. No. We expect that they deal diligently with the laws that they themselves have put together and sent to Parliament for it to be approved. And it's very important for all of us. This is part of the processes leading to an election which we want the results to be accepted by all. So you can't pick and choose. If you want me to accept it, let's play by the rules of the game. I mean, what is the thing about this?
And you think they are not playing by the rules based on how they've worked outside even their own CI?
Senna, the same CI talks about registration centers, that the EC should choose registration centers. It didn't leave it there. It came back to say that in designating a place as a registration center, you should look at accessibility and suitability of the place. These are key strong words. And you ask them, are you if you go to, and I was always citing, Winneba, for instance. I come from Winneba. Where the DC office is now, I am sure from yesterday's dream, it will be very difficult for anybody to access the place. There are people from Ushechi who would have to travel not less than using about 2-3 cars before they can get to the office. If the person does not have any form of ID and needs a guarantor, we would have to travel with the person all the way there. Is this suitable and accessible? And they are talking about people living with some form of disability. They will be treated well at the. How do you expect them to travel all the way to get your office before you treat them well? How? You You are saying you are going to put police there to stop people from bringing people, bashing people, and all those things. They can't do FOCO because they know themselves that the target that they themselves are set. They are always setting also very low targets just so that they can go over and say, oh, it's been very successful. If you look at statistical service, we are projecting in terms of people who are being taken. Then you see what the target have said. I mean, we saw how people couldn't register in the last one, and then you told them, oh, there will be another opening for them to register. They've said that, okay, just I think around July or somewhere like that, they'll have a small opening too for other people to register and all those things. You set this timeline forgetting that there are laws that stipulate certain things that need to be done. In terms of informing political parties, in terms of gazetting, the time that it takes to gazette and all these things. There are limitations. And that's why their calendar was very crucial. So my point is, we are pointed out several things in the year which are the rules of the game that we should all go by, that they are not going by. They are not going by. We even asked that before the registration exercise, please, let's have an iPad before that. They said, okay. Here we are. Here we are. The registration exercise started today. But anyway, we will start today. We'll monitor the process. Tomorrow, then we will take a decision if we need to call for an iPad to seek redress on some of the issues that will be coming up.
I see. Well, thank you. Thank you very much for speaking to us.
Thank you, Susan.
That's Citizen Ato Dazi, who is General Secretary of the GCPP. Lawyer, please deal with that business. We'll take a break. When we come back, the EC and Imani are tussling.
They are in TANKO.